Hello, World of Warcraft! This is Thomas with the WoW Dungeon, and in this video I'm going to be going over how to kite in a very basic manner. So this is an introduction to kiting, and I hope that it provides any new players, anybody new to Hunter, or if you're a more experienced Hunter but maybe need a refresher, I hope that this video helps you with kiting melee in Warlords of Dreanor. So, first and foremost, I would like to go over some of the spells that are important to defensive gameplay. Now, I personally like to categorize defensive and slash kiting spells into three categories. You have your utility, you have your CC, and you have your defensive. In your defensives, the big two defenses that you have are your trinket, deterrence, and roar of sacrifice. If you don't know what roar of sacrifice is, definitely start learning. Just a quick overview of roar of sacrifice. It is not a hunter ability. It is a cunning pet ability. So if you look into your pet's talent, or excuse me, spec, there are three specs: ferocity, cunning, tenacity. He should be spec'd into cunning, so that way he can give you roar of sacrifice, which will prevent any critical strikes from hitting you or a chosen friendly target. So make sure to get familiar with that. When it comes to PvP, it is one of your most important defensive cooldowns, and it's on a 1-minute cooldown. Now, when it comes to utility, there are concussive shot, explosive trap, tranquilizing shot, which is underutilized by a lot of new hunters, master's call, feign death, and camouflage. Now I'll be going over how I go through those in order to kite, but to keep this brief, I'd like to go over the CC. You pretty much have your tier 2 talent tree and your freezing trap. You also have your counter shot, but that's not that helpful versus melee. So I just want to go over real briefly before I get into the actual kiting on two things, on concussive shot and tranquilizing shot. When it comes to concussive shot, I personally believe that it's best to practice keeping concussive shot 100% on your on the melee that is you're dueling. The reason why is because it provides you with a 6-second slow on a 5-second cooldown, so it should be up 100% of the time on the warrior or the DK or whoever, because if they're slowed, it's going to prevent them from always being on top of you that much more. Now, you could use exotic munitions, frozen ammo, glaive toss. Personally, I wouldn't recommend just relying on exotic munitions, frozen ammo, because in some situations it really might be better to just learn how to concussive shot and use poison ammo to do that extra bit of damage. Because again, if they're dead, they can't stay on top of you. And then one quick note on tranquilizing shot. Tranquilizing shot is an exceptional ability that can help you actually peel. For example, Ret Paladins have a spell called Hand of Freedom. Hand of Freedom can be dispelled. Hand of Freedom will prevent them from being rooted, snared, slowed, whatever. If they have Hand of Freedom up and they have an increased run speed and they're coming at you, there's nothing you can do if you don't have your CC or your disengage. There's nothing you can do to slow them down. Concussive shot won't work, but if you trank it and then concussive shot them, they are screwed for 20 seconds, because I believe it's on a 20-second cooldown. So make sure that you learn how to use tranquilizing shot as well. So let's get into the kiting. Alright, so now to get into the actual kiting. Now remember, this is a basic introduction into kiting, and I won't be going into advanced techniques. The main reason for this is because when it comes to kiting, kiting melee is not based on the hunter, it's based on the situation and based on the class you're facing. So it's highly dependent on the situation. So keeping that in mind, I just want to go through a general idea of how to kite. Personally, I like to keep a mental note of 4 things. These are the 4 main things that you need to go through in order to kite melee and keep track of. 4 things, that's it, just 4. You have your disengage, your explosive trap, your CC, which is from your tier 2 talent list, and your freezing trap. Now, what these 4 things will do is help you create distance immediate distance from the melee that is attacking you. So, what do you do? Let's say a melee is on you. Disengage. Boom. I personally like to disengage early because it has the shortest cooldown, and it'll come back up, and I'll be able to boom, 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 keep disengaging. Pretty much I want to keep disengage. I hit it on cooldown when melee is on me. So disengage. Okay, what's next? Do you just sit there and let the melee hit you in deterrence? Hell no. Deterrence should be your last resort. Rotate through all of these three things before you resort to deterrencing. So, CC. Okay, they're still on you. What do you do next? Explosive trap. Okay, they're still on you. What do you do next? Freezing trap. All four of those things are about on a 20 to 45 second cooldown. With the two traps on a 30-second cooldown, you got your CC on a 45 second cooldown, or a minute, I guess, if you take intimidation, and then you have your disengagements on a 20-second cooldown. So you want to try to make sure that you blow through those well before your deterrence, because you only have a 3-minute cooldown on your deterrence with 2 charges. These are easy. These are easy to go through. So make sure you just keep rotating. Disengage, explosive trap, CC from tier 2 talent tree, and freezing trap. Doesn't have to go in that order. Maybe the situation calls for a freezing trap first, then a disengage, then an explosive shot, then your CC. Doesn't matter. Make sure to go through all 4 before you start panicking and deterrencing and blowing, all sorts of unnecessary defensives. So that is the basic guide to kiting melee in Warlords of Draenor. I hope that this helps anybody who's new to a hunter, or is coming back to WoW, or is new to World of Warcraft. So in the future, stay tuned. I will be creating some class-specific kiting guides. So, for example, on how to kite a warrior, what to look out for, what to do when he does X. Same with Windwalker monks, rogues, DKs, etc., etc. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and give me any feedback that you might have. All right. See you next time.